Alright YouTube, welcome to another episode of the LMR Bagpipes YouTube channel. I'm just going to move everything over just a bit, adjust the camera angle in a way to where y'all can see a little better. Today's episode is going to be for Hemoprodon bagpipe music. It was actually a bagpiper from India, so that's actually pretty awesome. I watched some of his videos and he does some Scottish bagpipe music. I'm going to check my practice chanter. Alright, there we go. Today we're going to learn a couple of embellishments, and I've watched some of his bagpipe stuff and I've noticed he uses grace notes. Well, today we're going to learn the embellishments. I'm going to teach you a few embellishments that you need to know, especially if you're going to be playing some more tunes on the bagpipes. We already know the grace notes, G. Eventually we'll get to learn D at some point. The grace note for D, the D grace note, the E grace note. But today we're going to learn a couple of embellishments. We're going to learn the grip, and we're going to learn the Toraluath, and then we're going to learn the two types of dthrows in this one. I did a lesson a while back explaining these embellishments, but now we're actually going to get into how to actually play these embellishments and when to use them. So, assuming you have a practice chanter, and assuming you know the basic bagpipe scale. Also, if you like what you see here, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you can get notified as soon as I touch a new bagpipe video down, or any other video that I make, whether it pertains to bagpipes, RGB lighting, any other musical themed video, whether it's record players, any of that. Be sure to subscribe so you can be notified as soon as I make that video and as soon as it touches down. Without further ado, let's get started. Assuming you know the bagpipe chanter scale, starting from low G to high A. And assuming that all your tapes on your chanter are tuned, let's try it again. Now, the first embellishment we're going to get into is the grip. Now, what tunes does this embellishment occur? It occurs in the Rowan Tree. It occurs in the Green Hills of Tyrol. It also occurs in The Battle's Over, When the Battle's Over. You can also hear it in The Gardens of Skye. And there are several other tunes that this occurs in. Now, how do you play this embellishment? Well, you start off on a low G, play a D grace note, we're going to start off slow. We're going to go from A to a grip, back to A. A with a grip to B. Then A with a grip to C. Now eventually, You're going to want to practice that quite a bit. And as soon as you practice that, you're going to want to make it go faster. Now the grip is low G with a D grace note, back to a low G, and then you play the note. So for instance, if I play the first part of Rowan Tree, you have a B with a grip to C. Again, that's a low G with a D grace note, back to a low G, and then the actual target note. In this case, you can also hear it in the Green Hills of Tyrol and When the Battle's Over. That same pattern occurs. Now, assuming you've practiced that slow, you're going to want to build that grip up to speed. We're going to go from B to C with a grip. And then faster. Keeping the same tempo, but the grip pattern will be a bit faster. 1, 2. Oh, accidentally lost a little bit on the air stream of the chanter. Let's try it again. In bagpipe music, there's an acronym. There's a couple of acronyms that we use, ALAP and ASAP. So ALAP means as long as possible, meaning you play the notes for as long as possible. ASAP, as short as possible, meaning you play the grace notes and the embellishments as short as possible as you can. So once you get that down, your grips should somewhat sound like this. And then, when you go from that to Rowan Tree, or whatever tune you're playing, then you'll notice, if you kind of hear how I'm doing the ALAP, ASAP, same goes for the grace notes. Whenever you play the grace notes, you want to play them ALAP, ASAP, as long as possible and as short as possible. The grace notes you actually do want to play as short as possible. Now, the next embellishment we're going to do is the Toraluath. The Toraluath is like a grip, but it has an extra grace note on the end before the target note. So, for instance, you can hear this in Scotland the Brave, Gardens of Skye. You can also hear it in, I want to say Battle of Waterloo. You can hear it in that tune. You can also hear it in, I'm trying to think of some other tunes that this is heard in. Charlie's Welcome is also played there. The You with the Crooked Horn, which is a strathspey that I actually am playing. You can hear it there. There it is. So the way you play the Toraluath is, it's essentially a grip, same thing, but you're going to add an E grace note on the end. So assuming you already know the grip, now this, you're going to add an extra note on the end. that E grace note is actually on the end of that embellishment. So the Toraluath is essentially a grip with an extra grace note on the end. So therefore you should get this sound. And you're going to want to play that A-lap ASAP as well. You can hear that in Scotland the Brave, for example. Next, we're going to learn the throws, specifically the D throws. Now, this is the same thing as a grip, except this time, you're going to play the grip, and then, now this is the heavy D throw that has the same embellishment technique as the grip. You go from low G and hit a D grace note, back to low G, then you're going to lift up to C and play that, and then you're going to play your target note, which is D. So that sounds like this. Then there's a shorter version of the heavy D throw called the light D throw. It does not have the grip, therefore you just go from G to D, then you play a C, and then back to D, which is your target note. Personally, for me, I like to use the heavy D throw because it sounds a lot cooler. You can hear this a lot in Rowan Tree and Scotland the Brave. Let's take Scotland the Brave, for instance. You can hear it fairly well. Some people use the heavy D throw, some people use the light D throw. Particular for me, I like to use the heavy D throw because it perfectly aligns with the grip. Let's hear Scotland the Brave and see how it's used. You can hear all of the embellishments present in there. That is the bagpipe embellishment, grip, Toraluath, grace notes, and the D throws. Let me just check my chanter real quick. There we go. And there we go. There is the bagpipes, embellishments, D throws, heavy D throws, light D throws, grips. How does that sound when playing the small pipes? Let's take the Scottish small pipes, my mouth-blown Piper's Choice small pipes, and let's hear how they sound, how all these embellishments work together with the chanter and the drones on the pipes. there we go. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. Please tap that notification bell so that way you can so that way you can get notified as soon as I upload a new video, whether it's bagpipes, whether it's RGB, whether it's any other musical related thing I want to show you. Thanks for watching. More to come later. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel so that way you can get notified. Tap that notification bell. That way you can get a notification as soon as the video touches down. Alright, thanks for watching and more to come later.